My name is Vincent A. Bentz.
Could you spell it?
My last name?
Yeah.
B-E-N-T-Z.
What is your birthday?
10/12/30
And where were you born?
in Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Oh. And tell me about your family when you were growing up.
Well, I went to school in West Lebanon, and then I went to a school called Harding Junior High.
Could you spell it?
Harding.
Harding Junior.
Harding Junior High.
Mm-hmm. When did you graduate?
And then I did not graduate. I went to senior high school then for 10th grade, but then I had got out of the school.
When was it?
I'd say 1946.
And what did you do?
Well, then I went into full fashion knitting, learning
Knitting.
a knitting machine to make nylon stockings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a mechanic. Set up the machinery to do hosiery work
Where?
in Lebanon.
And let me ask you this question. Did you know anything about Korea at the time?
At that time, I did not.
You didn't know where it was?
No.
You didn't learn anything from school about Korea?
No.
Nobody taught you?
No.
Now you're a Korean War veteran.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, that's something that when I saw how them people struggled, pitiful, very pitiful. Yeah. Like I said, it was really touching.
So when did you join the military then?
1948.
Were you drafted?
No, I went to be enlisted. Two friends of mine.
Mm-hmm. It was the Army, right?
Yeah, I went in 82nd Airborne first, in the paratroopers.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I took all my training, which I think was a benefit down the road.
How?
Well, physically.
Mm-hmm.
My two buddies that
What happened?
my best buddy, he's dead, and my other buddy, he's dead too. He was a POW for 3 years.
Korean War.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Howard Brandt, and he was in the same outfit as me.
Mm.
He was in the 24th. He was in the 19th. I was in the 34th, but we used to relieve each other. You know.
How did it happen? Do you know?
What?
How was he captured?
Well, he was shot. He got shot. It was in a skirmish.
Where was it?
Well, I would say it was up around. I'm trying to place it. I think it was up close to Seoul. I just can't remember the name of the town no more. But
When was it?
that was in 1950.
50?
1950.
Yeah, 1 month.
I'm trying to think of. It could have been maybe September.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been, yeah. I can't remember the dates right. It's too long ago.
So he was shot and then
But yeah,
captured?
that he was shot and then captured there, like that. Yeah, and then
Did you see that?
no, I didn't see that, but I knew about it, but through our buddies, you know, talking to each other, you know, that we knew which squad, you know, was where,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the other guy, my other buddy, I didn't meet him until we got rotated back to the States, and we met in the clearing station. he was in the 25th Division. He was in the Wolfhound, 27th Regiment. But we met at the clearing station. When they took us there, we had to take all, because we were all full of fleas and scabies and everything else, because you couldn't take a bath right. You know, only if you get to a stream or something, you know. But anyway, we went through, like they had tents set up, 2 tents. And we'd go through the tent, got some kind of bath they took that killed all the stuff on us, and then went into another tent where it was clean and clear water, and then cleaned up there, and then at the other end of that, they had clean clothes for us. And then from there they rotated us to different groups, and then from there we went back and got on ships. And
but before you get into that details, you told me that you didn't know anything about Korea.
no,
Now you are the Korean War veteran.
yeah,
Have you been back to Korea?
no.
No. Do you know what's going on in Korea?
Yeah, I could not believe when I see the pictures of Korea now.
Tell me about
How
it.
great.
What did you see?
Well, when
What
I
do you
was
know?
when I was there, it was more like flat. Everything was all blown up. You know, there were very, very seldom you'd see a building. It just wasn't. Because we lived in, you know, we'd pull up and you'd have shelter have. We had, they were raincoats, but they were made like a shelter have. But you'd buddy up with a buddy, and that's what you slept under. You know, when you get a chance. Like when you pull back, you get a chance to sleep, you know, so long. Your one buddy watches guard for you. That's how we did it.
And now?
And now, when I saw pictures of guys going over, I couldn't believe it's the same place. Yeah,
What
great,
did you see? In the
beautiful
picture?
buildings. Everything is so nice, and they treat the soldiers nice. They really do. Yeah.
So the Korea you saw in 1950, completely flat.
Oh my, yeah.
Do you know Seoul metropolitan city is bigger than New York City?
Is that right?
And Korea is now 11th largest economy in the world. In the world. Can you believe that?
I know they're doing good,
Vincent,
real good.
you saw Korea 1950,
Yeah.
and that Korea is now 11th largest economy in the world.
Huh.
That is your legacy.
Yeah.
That is your
Yeah.
honorable service.
Yeah.
And we don't teach about it in the United States.
Hmm.
Korean War, in the history textbook, only 1 paragraph.
Well, that should come up later on, don't you think? It should.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's why we are doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when we another thing, you know, when we come back to the States, you know, it isn't like it is now. Like you were nobody when we come back. That's a fact.
Yeah.
They didn't acknowledge you, like they kind of looked down on you. You know.
Why?
I have no idea. No idea why.
How was you?
Now it's altogether different.
How were you treated when you returned from Korea?
Like you were just I don't know how to explain that, really. They didn't, it was nothing, like you did nothing, you know. It wasn't a good feeling, you know. And then I got stationed back at Indiantown Gap. There I was an NCO there, and training troops before I got my discharge.
So when you enlisted Army in 1948, where did you get the basic military training?
Down Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
What kind? And tell me about those.
Well, that was in the paratroopers. We took 100% paratrooper training. You know, running and push-ups and which I said I think benefited all three of us guys, myself and my two buddies, because I think it helped all of us, and especially Brud, for him to survive in a POW camp. Because
And what was his name again?
Howard Brandt,
Howard.
Brandt, B-R-E-N-D-T.
And that's your old buddy.
Yeah,
Nice.
we were really close. Him and I grew up together.
So it must have been very hard for you.
Terrible hard. Yeah.
And what was your specialty?
Well, I was a gunner on a 75 recoilless rifle, and I was in a mortar company.
And what battalion? What was your unit?
Well, I was in headquarters company when I went over, and when we landed in Busan, they put us on I would say like cattle cars, but just took us up to a town called Daejeon, and then when we hit Daejeon, we got off there, and that's where I run into those cemetery. It was like schoolyards, and then they made the South Korean people dig their own ditches, and then they tied them and set them in the ditch, and then they shot all of them.
Wow, you saw that?
I didn't see it happen. We were there, right? It had to be just like ours. It had to be just ours before that, because we went up into the Combe River. That's right a little bit further north of that, and there's where we dug in. And then here there was a bridge right there, come across, and it was so funny. People and women, they wear long dresses done, and little did we know that they had walkie-talkies used to strapped under their legs underneath, and never come through. We'd let them come through, and then they'd get in back of us, and then they could radio and tell the North Korean troops, where our hot positions were. And they come across the river, I'm telling you, it was like flies. They just come across like banzai attacks. And we were cut off all the time, from, I ended up in the 34th Regiment in 3rd Battalion L Company. I was stuck with them then.
34th Regiment and what battalion?
L Company. L.
L?
Yeah.
And what battalion?
3rd Battalion.
And what is it? Is it?
That's in the 24th Infantry Division. See, there are 3 battalions. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Battalion.
And when did you arrive in Busan?
Well, I got over there July the 5th of 1950.
So you were there in a very early phase of the war.
I was in the first, yeah.
So tell me about the Busan that you saw. How was it? Busan, how was it when you first saw it?
Busan was like people running everywhere. It was just, you knew there was something wrong. But we didn't know what, because they told us that it's just a skirmish, that all we had to do was go up to Daejeon, and it's just going to be a couple days and it'll be over.
Were you in the Nakdong perimeter?
Oh, what?
Nakdong River.
I know the Nakdong River, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. And I was up as far as, I was 14 miles from the Manchurian border.
Yeah.
In our first move north, when we went across, and then we got pushed back.
But let's talk about Busan. So it was miserable.
Well, it was a lot of congested people. It was people running everywhere. You knew there was something wrong. You knew it.
What did you feel about it when you saw them?
Well, like I said, we figured they were just to do like a police action job, you know, and they put us on these cattle cars and sent us up to Taejon, and then from there we went up into the Combe River.
But didn't you face North Koreans there in Daejeon and Gum River?
Not till later.
So tell me about those details, the engagement that you had against these North Koreans and attacks that you received from them.
Well, when we were dug in at the Combe River, they come across in droves, and the first one or two roads would have rifles, machine guns, and stuff like that. But the other ones would have maybe clubs or something. And you know, if you'd pick them off, the ones in the back would pick up their rifle, just keep coming, they just overrun you. Overrun you. They had, well, they ended up hand-to-hand combat.
You saw North Korean soldiers.
Oh, absolutely.
What were you thinking?
Well, there ain't much to think about then. It's hard. What is hard to do is learn to shoot somebody. It's hard to do.
Did you?
It's hard to do.
So did you do it?
Oh yeah.
You had to do it.
I had to do it.
Yeah.
And you had to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
You saw many people just killed out there.
Oh my, yeah.
Do you have a PTSD?
I cannot.
Yes.
It takes me 3-4 days sometimes. It don't get better, it gets worse.
Getting worse?
It does. It seems like I get older. It affects me more. It gives me more time to think.
So, what is it? Tell me about the symptoms. How does that happen?
I think of all the things that happened. You know, your skirmishes and stuff. You know, what you had to do. And, you know, when we left, when they pushed us out of Taejon, I don't know if you probably read that in a book about General Dean.
Yeah.
Well, General Dean, I was from me to you, away from him. He was like another soldier. You'd never know. You would never know he was a general. And he when we were in Taejon, like I said, we were already, everybody was mixed up, didn't know what was going on no more. And then he just said, you, and you go there, but so-and-so, and head south to a town called Daegu. But everything, when we left there, everything was blocked off, and you had, what we did, we laid in ditches, and, you know, until you get out at nighttime, we'd work ourselves up along the side of the mountains and go along the mountain till we get down to Daegu, and then from there down into Pusan. And then the Pusan perimeter, that's where then we started north again after that. You know,
so you were in the Daejeon, Gum River, and from there, where did you go?
Well, then I got back into my regular outfit in the headquarters. See, I was like in a guard company then that guarded the headquarters. And what we did then, when we were going north, stragglers that would come through, that was our job. We'd have to go get them. If any tanks, some T-34 tanks come through, we'd have to try to get that. And I was a gunner on, like I said, on a 75 recoilless rifle, and tried to shoot up under the treads in those. It's the only way you could knock them out, because our tanks that we had were too light. They shot through them like they were matchboxes. They were just no protection at all.
So from there, where did you go? To Seoul?
Well, then we went up through Seoul, I've been up through Seoul, up through the 38th parallel. I was all the way up, I cannot think of the name of the town up in North Korea, but we were pretty close to the Chosun Reservoir.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
But tell me about Seoul that you saw in September, right? Well, you were in Seoul around September.
I was there 2 times. I was there going north and coming back, and it was in the wintertime and we were coming back.
But when you saw the Seoul for the first time, how was it?
It was blowing up pretty good, yeah. Yeah, there was hardly any buildings, very, very few.
Were there any resistance from North Koreans?
Well, you know, like when you're pulling back, you have resistance all the time, because they're always attacking you. You know.
But can you believe that Seoul become one of the 10 largest metropolitan city in the world right now? The Seoul that you saw?
Seoul.
Yeah, now it's one of the 10 biggest
Yeah, you said.
cities in the world.
But I see pictures of it, I just can't believe it when I see that.
Yeah.
And I try to think, and I look, you know, from there, where I was, you know, and a lot of it was just dirt roads too. There was no macadam or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to eat and sleep while you were going up?
I'm glad you brought that up. We lived on C rations and K rations all the time. Now, if we'd go through and we'd take a position or something, guys always, we had a Filipino guy with us. He was exceptionally good. He was real good. He'd say, hey, there was chickens at a place back here that we come through. So a couple guys would go back and catch some chickens, and we'd put them in a pot and cook them, and that was what we'd have that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And another thing that sticks in my mind now, yeah, well, always. When we take a hill, we always knew when they come online, the North Koreans or the Chinese, because they had pouches on the side, and in there they had rice balls wrapped in straw, maybe about that big, you know. And if they had, we knew if they had like 8 or 10 balls, they just come online. We guys used to go crazy over those. Those were good. Yeah, we liked those. Yeah. And I had, in the wintertime, when we're coming back from North Korea, getting pushed back, I had got a Chinese forward observer. We had no clothes, because I ended up with frozen feet. And I'd got it was a Chinese forward observer. We had took that position there, and I got his them quilted jackets, and I put that under my fatigue jacket to keep warm, because we had no, like I said, we had no clothes. They told us we don't need them. They sent stuff over. Maybe you got gloves. You might have got a cap. Another guy might have got a jacket. Another guy might have got shoe packs. They were called shoe packs and what they send over. But that's how we did it. And we used to take paper and stuff paper down in our shoes, in our boots, you know, to help to try to keep warm, you know. But it helped, but still ended up with frozen feet. And like I said, I only weighed like 130 pounds then, you know, you don't eat regular.
How could sustain yourself at the time?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you about the 82nd Airborne. I still say that I'm going to turn that off. That's what saved us.
I see.
Because of the training that we had there, very physical. You were in 100% tip-top shape, you know. And when I went out of there and went over, I was in the first cab when I first went over to Japan. And there we had good physical training too. And then when, like I said, when this Korean War started, they come around to us and they said, you're going into 24th Infantry. And then they sent us down to Kyushu in Japan. And there's where they put us on those boats and took us over to Pusan. You know, that's, you know, how I got over there first. So,
So through Seoul, where did you go? Did you go up to Pyongyang, the capital city of North Korea, or where did you go from Seoul?
I went through Pyongyang. Oh yeah.
So tell me about Pyongyang. What
But
did you see?
that was flat.
Huh?
Flat. That was flat. Yeah, we used to. What we did, we used to call in the jets. Our jets were too fast. They couldn't get down in the hollows, you know, the strafe for us. But we used to call in the Navy Corsairs,
Yeah.
and they could get down in, and they used to strafe for us, and they did a good job for us. They helped us out a lot, got us out of a lot of.
When did you get into Pyongyang? When?
I just honestly can't tell you the date. I can't tell you. It was when we were going north,
You're right.
you know,
And were there any resistance in
all the way up.
Pyongyang?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Any special episode that you remember?
Well, they were all like, you know, you'd be in a skirmish here and then one over here, maybe a day or two later, you know. It all depends, you know, how because you used to jump each other, you know, to, relieve each other.
It's really nerve-wracking that you don't know when and from where that the enemy is
Oh, no.
going to attack.
No, they were very good at camouflage. They were very good at that.
So you always...
And I'll tell you another thing that really hurt me. You'd see kids, I'm telling you, 12, 13, 14 years old.
What did you see?
It's hard to shoot them.
Did you
It
have
is
to?
hard to.
Did you
They
have
have
to?
rifles and shooting at you. What are you going to do?
Oh, you mean the teenagers are shooting
absolutely.
at you?
Absolutely.
So you had to kill them,
Absolutely.
and that bothers you.
All the time.
Do you see them in your flash upon, or?
I always do. Sometimes I get, at nighttime, sometimes I can't sleep at night. I just get up. And try to get my mind thinking something else.
Vincent, I'm so sorry about that you had to suffer.
But it was bad. But they're free. The only thing is, like I said, I wear my uniform on Memorial Day to honor my buddies that didn't come back with me. That's why I wear my uniform.
But Vincent, your suffering has never been wasted. The Korean people
I know they
rebuild their
do.
nation,
I
and
know
that
they
is your
do.
legacy.
I know they do.
Yeah, that is your legacy.
My nephew, his girl is married to a Korean boy, and he knows too.
And you have your son, grandson, in the army, grandson?
Yeah. He's in ballistic missiles.
Oh, in Korea?
Not now. He come back. He's in Oklahoma now.
Was he in Korea?
Yeah.
What was his unit?
He was. I don't know about you. He was in.
It's his 2nd division, right?
He's in ballistic missiles. I forget what it is. But
What's his name?
Matthew Bentz.
Matthew Bentz. And he was in Korea as
Yeah, he was. Now he's going back over again too.
again.
He was in Kuwait. He's down in Texas, but he's back from Texas now. He went there training troops, and now he's going back to Oklahoma, which he is now.
So on the way up to North Korea, and did you go up to Yalu River?
I was pretty close to the Yellow River. Yeah, I forget how far. They did say already how far it was, and but I know they all talked about the Chosun Reservoir. We were real close to it.
But Joseon Reservoir is in the east side of it.
Well, that's where we attacked toward that.
Yeah, but you were in the west side because you were in Pyongyang, right?
Yeah, and see, there's where they broke through. They broke through the 3rd ROK division, and they come down around. That's how they cut us off. That's why everything really was bad, you know, for us to get back.
So did you see Chinese coming in?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I saw.
Tell me about the day that you saw Chinese intervention for the first time, and when was
Oh,
it?
I'd say it was in North Korea.
When
Yeah,
was it? Approximately.
It was cold. It had to be in December. It had to be in December. There was a lot of snow. A lot of snow.
Was very cold, right?
Oh, 40 below zero. Yeah, that's what they told us. It was 40 below.
And didn't MacArthur tell you that
MacArthur,
tell
I'll
you that
something.
you're
I
going
wanna
to have
tell
a
you
Christmas back home?
something. If Truman, if he would have let MacArthur go, I think that we could have ended that war in North Korea. I think so. But he pulled him and fired him, and that's when everything went haywire. Yeah. Yeah,
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
So how was it, the kind of situation when you had to withdraw from North Korea back to South Korea? How was it?
What do you
The
mean?
withdrawal.
Well, you pull back, and you know, like the same way you go forward, you know, because you got to have protection. You know, and some guys, see, the 34th Regiment ended up was no more. It ended up becoming the 5th RCT because it was just about completely wiped out.
So what happened to you after you coming back from North Korea? Where were you in South Korea?
Well, and I got all the way back, like I said, they pushed us way back, and then we went back up again to up to Seoul. And there was a town right above Seoul, between there and the 38th parallel.
의정부?
I was in Wejeongbu, yeah. Wejeongbu, I'm trying to think where
문산리?
Wejeongbu was one. Waegwon, where was Waegwon?
What?
Waegwon.
Weibom?
Waegwon. One of them places is where I got shrapnel in my leg.
Oh, you were wounded.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I don't know. I can't get the name in my head right. But it
How?
was.
When was it?
Well, we were cut off, and we had met a bunch of Russian rifles and Chinese rifles, 27 caliber, 31 calibers, and all kind of stuff in trailers, you know, in what they call the 6x trucks, and we were pinned down. So they asked for volunteers, you know, to hook them up because they didn't want them to get those weapons. So Turnbull, a guy, a friend of mine, he said, that's you and I go. He said, I'll go with you. I said, okay. I said, we'll go. And a guy took a 3/4 ton truck, and then we went down. But then they shot at us all the way down until we got in the back and hooked these up. And that's where I took a piece of shrapnel in my leg. And when we got back up, and the one guy said, Bentz, he said, you have your boots all bloody. And I looked, and here was a piece of shrapnel sticking out of my leg. You can hardly see it anymore, but there's a hole in that bone.
Hold on.
There's a hole right in that bone right there. Yeah, right.
And were you treated?
And I went to the clearing station then.
MASH unit?
And then no, it's called clearing station. See, they don't take you to to the MASH unit unless you were really shot up bad.
I see.
Most of the time you ended up in a clearing station.
I see.
And there they pulled it out and sulfurized, I don't know what all they do. Did something, I went right back to my company then, you know. And the funny part about it is the clearing station that I was at got blown up.
Oh.
And what happened, I tell you, a lot of the stuff that happened, my records were burned up in St. Louis. That's another bad thing.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I ended up, a doctor looked at me, and when he looked at my feet, he said to me, when I was at the VA hospital, he said to me, he said, what did they do about your feet? I said, nothing. I said, they don't do, oh no, he said. He said, he made a phone call. He said, you're willing to go see somebody? I said, yeah, I will. And he sent me down to some guy down in the first floor at the VA. From then on, it took off, and they really took care of me. From that point on, they really did.
Mm-hmm. So when did you leave Korea?
I left there in May of 1951.
51.
I was in the first rotation. The first rotation back.
And when you left Korea, what was on your mind? That you were just glad to be out of there?
Well,
what was on your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I was glad to go back to the States. Because it's been over 3 years that I was there, you know.
And did you think that, had you ever imagined that Korea would become like this today?
Never. I didn't. When I see pictures of how nice that is there now, that's great.
Yeah. That gives you some relief and reward, right?
Yeah. We often talked about, going over there, but I don't have the money to do it, really.
The Korean government pay everything but half of the airfare. So if you want to go, you let me know. They pay everything. Hotel, meals for 7 days, and they pay half of your airfare. So you can go. I mean, I think you should go and look at what happened there.
We had a little dog. I'd tell my wife already, I said, we had a little dog that used to be with us. This may sound funny to you, but that dog, I'm telling you, could smell when there was trouble. It was just like a regular run of a dog,
Tell me how...
He was so good, and he knew he'd run around and carry on like crazy. If he knew there was something that wasn't supposed to be there, and he was always right.
Where?
No matter where he went with us.
No, where was it?
It was in North Korea, South Korea. It was there no matter where we went.
So you took...
He was with us always. Yeah, he took us. He was like he reminded me like of these dogs they have, for sniffing dogs.
Yeah.
That's how he reminded us.
What was his name?
I don't remember what we called him, but I just don't. But he was a good dog, and everybody he liked all the GIs. For some reason, the dog never saw a dog like that. Yeah, and he was just like a little runt. He didn't.
Part of your family.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah.
Any other battle episode that you remember that you want to share with us?
Well, I was in 5 major battles. The stars,
So 5 major, which is Busan. What else?
Oh boy.
Daejeon,
Yeah, and then going north,
Gumgang,
and then up at the reservoir up that way.
recovery of Seoul.
Yeah. It was 5 of them. I have 5 battle stars for that. And then what did they call that? The Silver Star? Is that what it was?
You got Silver Star?
That's what they called it. They said I had a Silver Star.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, I have the Silver Star. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta really go back to Korea. They will treat you like an emperor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to invite your wife back to your. Please sit close to him. And let me adjust the camera. Could you introduce yourself, your name?
My name is Phyllis Bentz, wife of Vincent.
Phyllis?
Yes.
And when did you marry him?
In 1957.
57. And did he ever tell you about Korean War story?
Not so much. He and his friend, we called him Brud, that was his nickname. When he would come to visit, they would talk about it, and I would hear it. But when Brud passed away, things got worse for Vince, and then we talked more about it.
Uh-huh.
And when he joined the Korean War Veterans Association, there I hear more stories. And my nephew made an album of his experiences, and there I saw more than he ever talked about. He was pretty quiet about it, because I think it brings him a lot of pain.
When you married to him, did you know that he had a PTSD?
No, he didn't exhibit that at that point.
Oh, when did he exhibit that?
Later,
Like what?
I would say like after his friend passed away.
Which is 19...
He's been gone for about, I'm not sure,
10 years?
maybe 10 years.
Yeah. How is it to watch your beloved husband suffering from those flesh?
It's hard, but it's hard. How do you take your memories away? Your memories are always in your brain, and it's hard to shut them off. But I think he's doing remarkably well for what he had to do and for what he suffered.
Yeah. There are many different kinds of symptoms of PTSD. People screaming,
Yes.
people throwing things, and somebody's hitting, and
Yeah.
drinking. And this is really a hard thing,
We went through the drinking stage.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a lot of it that he wasn't talking about it. He was drinking his memories. And that was a hard time because that went on for pretty many years and I didn't know why.
So what do you think about his legacy as a Korean War veteran?
I think this is a beautiful story because we met quite a few South Korean people.
Phyllis, could you take off your glasses
Yes,
because it
I can.
reflects there?
We met quite a few South Korean people in Washington, D.C. when we went down there for different programs. And they shared with us how grateful they were for what he did and others that went there to serve and how well their country is doing now. And I think it's beautiful. And when my grandson was there to share how he went to Seoul and show us the pictures and what I see in his album, it's beautiful that they could build that country into what it is. I'm happy for the people that they could do that.
Right. Your grandson is seeing the city
Yes.
Yeah.
that resurrected actually from...
Yes, because he's seen the pictures.
Well,
in the
he
album.
even brought me a piece of wire from,
DMZ.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, he said to me, he said, Pappy, he said, do you remember Hill 302? I said, yes, I do.
Tell me about it. Hill
Well, Hill
302.
302, but that
Yeah.
was a lot of firing there.
Tell me the details, please.
Well,
When was it and how it happened and where were you and
well,
what
that
did
was
you
when
do?
we were going, coming up from Busan, coming up through. 302 was
Where
down
was it, the hill?
right. I think it was right below Rejombu.
Okay. So it's close to 38
Oh, yeah.
parallel. What happened?
Well, that was 302, where Hill 302 was, and there's where they were dug in really heavy. That took a lot of casualties, lots. That's about it. I mean, it's just a lot of shooting.
So looking back all those years, what do you think about this war and why we don't teach about this war? Why is it known as forgotten war?
That's what I'd like to.
While Vincent is so much suffering from it.
Yeah,
Why is it forgotten?
yeah.
Huh?
It's surely not right, and there's many more suffering probably worse than him.
Hope that you will get out of that suffering,
Well,
even little.
yeah.
Thank you.